Commissioner Coy, Commissioner Esposito.
Commissioner Esposito present.
Thank you. Commissioner Kenyatta Bay.
Commissioner Kenyatta Bay, present.
Thank you. Commissioner Mohammed. Commissioner Redding Lollinger.
Present.
Commissioner Brooks. Commissioner Slater Harrington.
Present.
And I'm also present. Is there a motion to reopen the meeting?
So moved Esposito.
Thank you, Commissioner Esposito. Is there a second?
Second, Kenyatta Bay.
Thank you, Commissioner Kenyatta Bay. All in favor, Vice Chair Parker,
Yes.
Commissioner Ames Messenger,
Yes.
Commissioner Esposito,
Yes.
Commissioner Kenyatta Bay,
Yes.
Commissioner Redding Lollinger,
Yes.
Commissioner Slater Harrington,
Yes.
and I'm also in favor. Any opposed? That motion passes. I'd like to take a moment to recognize our student colleagues from Patterson High School doing the JROTC presentation this evening. You'll join me in a round of applause for our students. Is there a motion to approve the prior open session summaries?
So moved Esposito.
Thank you, Commissioner Esposito. Is there a second?
Second, Ames Messenger.
Thank you. All in favor, Vice Chair Parker,
Yes.
Commissioner Ames Messenger,
Yes.
Commissioner Esposito,
Yes.
Commissioner Kenyatta Bay.
Yes.
Thank you, Commissioner Redding Lollinger,
Yes.
Commissioner Slater Harrington,
Yes.
and I am in favor. This motion passes. Is there a motion to approve the closed session summaries?
So moved, Kenyatta Bay.
Thank you, Commissioner Kenyatta Bay. Is there a second?
Second Esposito.
Thank you, Commissioner Esposito. All in favor, Vice Chair Parker,
Yes.
Commissioner Ames Messenger,
Yes.
Commissioner Esposito,
Yes.
Commissioner Kenyatta Bay,
Yes.
Commissioner Redding Rollinger,
Yes.
Commissioner Sladen Harrington,
Yes.
and I'm in favor. This motion passes. We have a little bit different script this evening. Things are moving around on our agenda, so I'd like to take the opportunity to welcome everybody to our January 20th meeting, and thank you for being here. We'd like to take an opportunity in our Superstar Scholar Superstar is back. It's our opportunity as a board in this special segment to recognize two students and staff who the board have handpicked for their achievements in academics, extracurricular activities, or their impact with the school community. Tonight, we'll highlight January Scholar Superstars. Our first winner is Kieran Tucker. Did Kieran join us tonight? All right. So Kieran is a fifth grader at Liberty Elementary School in West Baltimore. It's a couple of remarks here. I was impressed when I was reading this. So Kieran is a trailblazer, paving his way to greatness with integrity and bravery. With the support of his family, teachers, and friends, Kieran has grown the confidence to be the first male cheerleader on the Liberty cheer team and the first male model for the school fashion show. Outside of cheerleading, Kieran also participates in dance, volleyball, and flag football. So in the classroom, Kieran shows remarkable growth, stepping up to assist fellow classmates and inspiring them to do their best. To learn more about Kieran and personally congratulate him on his accomplishments, the communications office visited Kieran at Liberty Elementary School to capture this amazing video. Bring that up in just a moment.
Tucker, I am in the fifth grade and I am a scholar superstar. I love cheerleading because it just is one thing that makes me have more energy. I didn't really expect none of my friends to actually be on there with me, but a lot of my friends were there, so I felt comfortable. We had to do this super hard dance. It was really hard, but to be honest, out of everybody else who could not get it, it was me. I took some groups and I helped them each individual. So I got a merit for that, which is good. Being the first boy on the cheer squad, I would inspire our boys. If you want to do cheer, just do it. It's not really just a girl thing. It's also a boy thing. And as you get in that comfort zone, then you'll see it. It really has made me step into my comfort zone when I'm at school. Cause sometimes I get bullied, but that doesn't get in my way for the whole day. I just think about something else and I walk away and I talk to my friends and I just have a regular day. My plan for when I get in middle school is to make it kind of the best because after middle school is kind of high school. Time goes fast, so I want it to be the best. Math is my favorite subject. Math and art, and the reason I like math is because I just love solving problems. And then art, I'm an artist. I just love art. I love to draw. I love to do anything that has to do with art. I want to be a vet, so I can work with animals. I would say keep trying. As long as you really focus in school, you don't really have no problems.
Our pleasure to welcome Kieran and his family up to the podium for a few words. We're just. Yes, yeah. If you push the green button, we'll happily hear remarks from you guys. I'll just push it one time. Yep.
I'm his mom, and I'm very proud. Karan started out under grade level in first grade, and with the help of the staff at Liberty and the IEP team, they were amazing. by third grade, and he had Tamika Peters, who's one of our administrators now. He became on grade level. Since then, he's been above grade. So to know his story, I'm very proud of him and letting him be who he wants to be. That was hard. I'm old school. But my mentor, I've allowed him to be free and take the freedom of doing what he likes to do. And so I was very honored when he was nominated and he won the award. So again, thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you. Karan, do you want to share a few remarks?
Yeah. I would just say that it's not really hard. School is basically all about life, and as you get into life, you need to learn different things to able to like take care of life. So it's easy.
We're very proud. We're very proud. Before you go, did you want to offer a few remarks too?
He has such a great structure and great backbones, but he works hard in everything he does. He tries his best. He does not give up. And when I had him in my third grade math class, even in those struggles, he never let it get him down. So to see him make it to this part with confidence and strength and everything, it's owed to his mom, who does an amazing job. So I'm very proud of him.
So we'd like to welcome Karan and his family up, and you as well, to take a photo and present this award on behalf of the board. So the certificate is proudly awarded to Karan in recognition of your outstanding academic and extracurricular achievements, and we're very proud of these achievements.
Stop.
Congratulations to not only Karan, but to the entire Liberty Elementary School community. We know that it takes an entire community to really educate all of our scholars, and so we're very proud of the work that Karan has done, as well as the school community.
Yes, so our second winner is Jakai Ben Skin. Is Jakai here? All right. Jakai is a 12th grader at City Neighbors High School in East Baltimore. Jakai is an accomplished and creative student who advocates for people who encounter social injustices and inequities. He is the co-founder of the City Neighbor High School Green Team, a program he started with last year's January Scholar Superstar. Is it Sarai Jennings? Saraya, thank you. He is also an officer for the Best Buddies City Neighbor High School chapter, a club designed to support student connection. Outside of his humanitarian efforts, Jakai is the president of the school choir, a first chair musician in the steel band. I love that. Vice president of the Student Government Association, and a member on the school's chess and track teams. I love that. To learn more about Jakai and personally congratulate him on his accomplishments, the communications office visited Jakai at City Neighbors High School to capture this amazing video.
Hello, my name is Jakai Binskin, and I'm a senior at City Neighbors Charter School, and I'm a Scholar Superstar. The Steel Pan Band is a music group that we have at the school. It started back in 2021. The steel pan, if you don't know what it is, it's pretty much these round tub type of shape, and it's made of metal, and you have these mallets which have rubber ends on it. You play different notes on it, and it's like a huge ensemble of people. I feel like the steel pan specifically just makes music much more fun, especially because like you really gotta like really be in the music and like embody it. So I feel like that's what makes me interested in music. My mom and my grandmother are like the main ones who like really just keep me grounded. If it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be doing as well as I am doing. Like when I was younger, I didn't really necessarily care about school that much. And like, I mean, I was doing my work, but I really wasn't like trying my best when it came to my work. And like, I just want to thank her because like she really made me the best I am now. And like, she's the main reason that I'm even being able to go to college for free now because most of the colleges that I've gotten into, I've gotten pretty much full ride to, and it's mainly just because of her, because she made sure that I stayed on track. Same for my grandmother, because neither of them played whatsoever. So I feel like they're the main reason for my success. The most important thing I could possibly say is don't give up on yourself. When I wanted to sing, like I never actually sung anything, that was mainly because of people's judgment. And honestly, I am not that bad of a singer. Like I'm not gonna say I'm Mariah Carey, but I'm not that bad of a singer. Just trying to ignore other people's opinions is like the best thing you can do.
Jakai, it is my honor to invite you, your family, and our city neighbor staff up to the front. And then hold the.
Hi, my name is Jaleesa. I am his mom. Makes everything so unserious. I love him so much. Like he said, he's always done good in school, but since he's been in high school, with the help of Miss Perry, he has been great. He's just so proud of him.
Hi, my name is Jakai, and I really just want to come up here and say thank you to my mother and my grandmother who's sitting back there because she didn't want to talk. But I want to say thank you to her, and I especially want to say thank you to Ms. Zart and Ms. Paler, especially Ms. Paler because she's like my school mother. I've known Ms. Paler since my freshman year when I first joined the Steel Pan Band, and I just want to thank her so much because if it wasn't for her, I feel like I just wouldn't be where I'm at now. And I just want to thank them for all the opportunities that they have given me. And yeah, that's really it. So thank you.
We don't want
So what's next? I'm excited for you. You're doing so well.
Well, mainly it's just college right now. It's between Hood College, Salisbury University, oh, oh my gosh, and Ohio State University. I plan on majoring in either nursing or pre-dental studies and getting a minor in management if I major in nursing. So just those for right now.
Just to vote for Ohio since I'm
From Ohio.
Ohio's the heart of it all, you know?
So
Congratulations.
thank you.
All right, Jakai. So in recognition of your outstanding academic and extracurricular achievements, thank you for all your contributions to your school community. So we invite you up to get your award.
All right, that's a hard act to follow. And I really appreciate just the enthusiasm that our young people bring. This is probably my favorite part of the entire agenda in terms of us being able to recognize the outstanding accomplishments of our young people. To our business, we are looking at, is there a motion to approve the PEP and quasi judicial matters?
So moved.
So moved.
Kenyatta Bay.
Second, Ames Messenger.
Thank you, thank you. All in favor, Vice Chair Parker,
Yes.
Commissioner Ames Messenger,
Yes.
Commissioner Esposito,
Yes.
Commissioner Kenyatta Bay,
Yes.
Commissioner Redding Lollinger,
Yes.
Commissioner Slater Harrington,
Yes.
and I'm in favor. This motion passes. I'll now review the consent agenda. Board colleagues, please let me know if you have any items that you wish removed, and please state your question for staff. Item 6.01, supplemental appropriation, HVAC replacement at Arundel. 6.02, supplemental HVAC replacement at Arlington Elementary. 6.03, supplemental HVAC replacement at Gobens. 6.04, supplemental appropriation school improvement at Highland Elementary Middle. 6.05, supplemental appropriation major projects, FFE, which includes Armistead Gardens, Northeast, Furley, and Marie G. Baring. 6.06, supplemental appropriation, the high school plan for construction augmentation. 6.07, supplemental appropriation, City Springs Elementary Middle project. 6.08, operator waivers and cap requests. 6.09, FY25 Q1 budget amendment. 6.10, paraprofessionals and school-related personnel, chapter BTU, American Federation of Teachers, Local 340 contract. Item 18.01, Carney, Kellen, Reiser, Bennett, Shear Legal Services Contract Amendment. 18.01, illegal. Are you pulling 18.01? Yes. Can you state your question for staff?
I'm sorry. There's 150% increase in that particular item, and I just wanted to know if there was anything special that we needed to know about that increase.
Is there a member from Office of Legal Counsel who wants to answer? No. Or we can do after public comment. How about that? We'll move to public comment. Item 5.01, member BTU, Diana Deserito. That video or in person? If we don't have Diana, we'll skip. We don't have anybody from BTU this evening. Oh.
Good evening, board members. There's Diana. Psych. I'll talk to y'all later.
Good evening. I am Diana. I'm a speech language pathologist and serve on the BTU Executive Board. I am speaking to express concerns about issues affecting our related service providers. As many of my colleagues have stated in past board comments, we deserve answers about contractual obligations by the district. We are asking why our AU payouts for teacher chapter members have been so chaotic. When BTU has asked for clarification on why such decisions were made for the compensation, the district has gone dark. It is unacceptable that human capital is not responding to questions or answering BTU emails. In addition, as per our contract, teacher chapter members with a master's degree receive $2,500 added to our base salary beginning next school year 25-26. The verification of educators' degrees by human capital has been very chaotic. The past few weeks, hundreds and hundreds of veteran and newly hired employees received emails detailing that the district has no record of our master's degree. I do not understand how Baltimore City Public Schools does not maintain accurate records of master's degrees for our teachers, but especially for our related service providers who must have a master's degree to practice in their clinical profession. This is unacceptable. The Office of Human Capital fails to meet basic standards like paying people on time and accurately, processing our educator credentials, and maintaining accurate records of its employees. We hope that as the board searches for a new CEO, they will ensure that we will have a responsive chief of human capital and one that proactively works with its employee representatives to solve issues instead of perpetuating harm to workers that make this district what it is. There is a significant shortage of speech language pathologists in the state of Maryland, which has led to overwhelming caseloads for the SLPs that we do have. I have close to 50 students on my caseload, and my workload has quickly increased. I know my colleagues are reaching caseloads up to 80 students, creating a need for extra hands. There are literally no extra hands. The shortage is causing delays in time-sensitive services, assessments, coaching, paperwork, and an overall delay in the entire flow of the IEP process. It's critical that the district takes steps to attract and retain qualified speech-language pathologists, and I urge the board to adhere to the BTU teacher contract, whereas speech-language pathologists have just added language to start a work group to explore strategies for addressing this shortage. Why hasn't the Office of Special Ed responded to our request to start this work group? I am ashamed of how long it takes this district to follow a documented timeline like establishing an SLP work group. The disorganized system impacts the entire team. When one system of the process is broken, we are greatly impacted. Take, for example, transportation. Most of my early learning students ride buses all over the city to attend our city programs. Our most vulnerable students have been impacted by delays and lack of support over the years. Parents ask, why do buses refuse to wait to pick up my child in the morning? Why are they always late? I received a text the other day from my special educator. This morning, one of the buses was 50 minutes late. The afternoon bus ride was an hour and a half. Why? We're talking about 3-year-olds. 3-year-old preschoolers on a bus for more than an hour. I ask for some compassion for our families as this is their first school experience. Bus aides have been asking for training on how to de-escalate students' behaviors, adhering to IEP safety precautions and strategies, CPR training, using AAC devices, better routes, and literally more help and staffing. Secondly, our parent advocacy groups are lacking. Parents need more support from our district and outside community. I have attended some CCAC meetings in the past and feel like they are not targeting what our families need. The BTU Special Ed Committee has been figuring out ways to support our staff and families, but the turnover of supervisors and lack of response from the Office of Special Ed has been frustrating. For all the parents and community members listening, please reach out to the BTU Special Ed Department, the Special Ed Committee, as we want to share our concerns and figure out ways to help our parents through this process. As the speech language pathologist, I am able to witness so much of the chaos around a school or ignore it. The teachers' shortage is real, and those who end up in our specialized classrooms deserve all of the love. From the first-year international teacher from Kenya to long-term subs, our educators are thrown into the messy world of early learning. I know the amount of work for those classrooms is insane, and our teachers need more planning time to reflect learner outcomes. We need a reduction of redundant tasks that consume so much of our time. Those are just some snippets of my day as a city school speech language pathologist. I hope we can all work together to move towards an effective workload approach if related service providers are expected to add value to the students' classroom experience. Our students with disabilities should receive the support they deserve and ensure that their voices are heard. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Now we'll move to Associated Student Congress of Baltimore City. Welcome. It's good to see you again.
Good evening, everyone.
Oh, and just have to push it one time.
Oh, just push it one time. Okay. Good evening, everyone. My name is Benjamin Grimaldi, and I'm an 8th grader from Thomas Johnson Elementary Middle School and an ad hoc member at ASCBC. The past 2 weeks have been very eventful for student engagement in city schools. Students had an opportunity to weigh in on upcoming board policy revisions and the district's budget priorities in 2 student forums. As a facilitator at both events, I hope the board and City Schools leadership will take advantage of the valuable student feedback provided at these events. 2 weeks ago, ASCBC co-hosted the Youth Board Forum at Baltimore Design School. Here, students had an opportunity to give feedback on 2 board policies whose revisions will have considerable impacts on students. The 2 policies are policy JICJ, which governs cell phones and other electronics, and policy JJIC, which governs academic eligibility for student athletes. Our student commissioner, Dylan Rooks, opened the meeting. Students learned about proposed policy revisions from the offices who are leading the revision process. We then broke into breakout rooms with student facilitators who guided the conversation about how students may react to policy changes, how effective they think these policy changes will be, and what adjustments students think should be made to the revisions. Staff from City Schools offices leading revisions were present to listen and take notes, and ASCBC hopes that they will seriously take the valuable feedback and valuable insights the students raised. A majority of students supported the revisions, even including strict restrictions on cell phone use. However, we also raised serious concerns about school-to-school level differences and how that could affect implementation. As the people most familiar with how policy actually affects us, it's important that City Schools leadership listens to us and makes it clear how they've integrated our feedback and concerns into their final revisions. Thank you to all of the board members and City School staff who attended the board forum. Last week, we also co-hosted the student budget forum at Dunbar High School. Last year, ASCBC requested that students have deeper engagement in the school budget process. Since then, the Youth Budget Work Group has been meeting with the City Schools finance team monthly to strategize on how to increase student engagement in the budget process. The Youth Budget Work Group helped to design the forum last week. We welcome 60 students from all over Baltimore and from a diverse array of schools, including Vivian T. Thomas, Baltimore Design School, Mervo, Frederick Douglass, and more. At the meeting, we discussed how the district's budget is developed, how the budget process should and can involve students, and what areas of next year's budget should be prioritized. The meeting opened with a presentation co-facilitated by the Family Engagement Group and members of the Youth Budget Work Group, including Fatima Velazquez, who is the treasurer of ASCBC and is a Digital Harbor High School SGA member, Zaina Shah, who is an ad hoc member of ASCBC and a Baltimore Polytechnic Institute student, and Alexis Davis, Coppin Academy and SGA member. Students broke into groups to discuss what the budget should prioritize next year. In the small group that I facilitated, students were most concerned about improving attendance and dropout re-engagement and accelerating student achievement in literacy and math. The students believe these are the most fundamental priorities and that due to the likelihood of budget constraints next year, these should be prioritized. The feedback from all the small groups was captured by staff from the family engagement team, and ASCBC looks forward to follow up from that team and City Schools leadership, demonstrating how students' feedback was included in the final budget decisions. Before I close, I want to highlight that ASCBC's General Assembly winter will be held on February 11th. At this meeting, students from across Baltimore City will gather for peer-led workshops on leadership and student advocacy. We're excited to share that this is the first General Assembly run by ASCBC that will offer both English and Spanish. We have shared an invitation with the board members and City Schools leadership, and we hope to see you at that event. Thank you for your time and have a great evening.
Thank you. And the board just wants to thank ASCBC for the invitation to the Student Youth Forum. It was a tremendous opportunity to see you guys look at some of the policies that are coming up. So we appreciate that invitation to observe, and we look forward to joining you at the General Assembly coming up. So I now turn over to Dr. Judkins for our general public comment this evening.
Thank you. We have one public comment from Kim Knox, parent of Baltimore Revolutionary Academy for virtual education. The topic will be educational interest. And this will be a comment that is read. Good evening, BCPSS Board of Commissioners. In honor of School Board Recognition Month, I dedicated this month of January to learning more about the governance practices of my child's school system. My deep dive of the board level policy and administrative regulation documents provided me with a deeper appreciation for the board's efforts to cultivate a school system where students and parents are recognized and respected as integral stakeholders and decision makers in the delivery of this public service. Unfortunately, in my family's experience in the school system, we have encountered a disconnect in how the vision is implemented at the school level. You see, I have spent the month of January being ignored and or gaslit by the Baltimore Revolutionary Academy school administration and district personnel. Even a simple request to learn how to report and submit absence documentation has gone weeks unanswered. Further, school rules seem to shift and change at the whim of school administration without notice or engagement of stakeholders. Most recently, to better understand how to navigate my child's school, I sought access to the school's rules, i.e. policies and procedures, only to learn that none of them have been formally documented to be made available for review and input. A practice that not only disenfranchises my student and family of their rights to participate in school level decision making as expressed in the district's 2024-25 Students' Rights and Responsibilities Handbook and the district's Family and Community Engagement Policy, but is also of concern given the recent issues these school administrators have faced regarding new accusations of the district grade changing scandal. As School Board Recognition Month comes to close, I hope that the board will actively support school level administrators across the district in taking a moment to review their school level practices for alignment and compliance with the policies and regulations established by the BCPSS board and commit to remedying any concerns or violations. Thank you. And that is the end of public comment.
Thank you. Based on public comment, are there any additional items that board members would like to pull from the consent agenda? Hearing none, I'd like to invite Chief Sivens up on the item that was pulled earlier.
Commissioner, thanks for the comment. Yeah, I believe you're asking about the contract involving Carney Callahan, which is one of our outside counsel that provides a rare array of services. By the way, I'm Josh Sivens, Chief Legal Officer. I should have said that at the outset. They have provided great service to us for a number of years around a number of issues, including special ed, student services, and other school-related matters. And we monitor outside counsel closely, try to keep those costs within reason. The increase here is merely to make sure that we're well poised in the event that we need services on a rapid basis, either for a student-related issue like a student discipline matter or a special ed due process case. And hopefully, we always plan for the worst and hope for the best. Hopefully, we won't need these services, but we have them available when we need them going forward.
Thank you, Chief Stevens. I appreciate it. Is there a motion to approve the remaining consent agenda?
Ames Messenger, so moved.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second Esposito.
Thank you, Commissioner Esposito. All in favor? Vice Chair Parker?
Yes.
Commissioner Ames Messenger?
Yes.
Commissioner Esposito?
Yes.
Commissioner Kenyatta Bay?
Yes.
Commissioner Park, I'm sorry, Commissioner Parker twice. Commissioner Redding Wallinger?
Yes.
Commissioner Slater Harrington?
Yes.
And I'm in favor. This motion passes. I'd like to turn it over to Dr. Santelises now for CEO comments.
Thank you very much, Chair Sally. Good evening, everyone. Chief Emily Nielsen for this evening's PEP agenda. Sorry, I was thrown off a little bit.
Thank you, Dr. Santelises. Good evening, board commissioners. On this evening's PEP agenda, we have from the Office of the Chief Communications Engagement Enrollment recommended that Monique Sims, currently Special Assistant Communications and Community Engagement, be appointed Director Community Engagement effective February 8th, 2025. Please stand up so we can recognize you, Monique. Congratulations to everyone on tonight's PEP agenda.
Thank you, Chief Nielsen. February is School Board Appreciation Month, and I am very pleased to take this opportunity to personally thank every member of the Baltimore City Board of School Commissioners. I just want to thank not only our present members, but past members, just for your devotion to schools, to our families, to our young people. I do know that the hours that folks put in, the dedication that you do the work with, particularly it would be still up and above kind of what normal folks would do, even if you were paid. The fact that you are not paid shows, in my mind, your kind of selfless commitment to our young people. I want to also note that as a school district, our Office of Communications has prepared a celebratory video for our Board of Commissioners this evening as our way of saying thank you. So we are going to turn.
January marks School Board Recognition Month, a time to celebrate the dedicated leaders who guide and shape the future of education. Today, we honor the Baltimore City Board of School Commissioners for their tireless commitment to the students, families, and communities of Baltimore. This team of passionate individuals works diligently to create policies, oversee budgets, and set the vision for academic excellence in our schools. Their leadership ensures that every student in every neighborhood has access to the resources and opportunities they need to succeed. From fostering innovative programs to advocating for equity and inclusion, the Baltimore City Board of School Commissioners goes above and beyond to empower the next generation of thinkers, leaders, and change makers. To the commissioners, thank you for your unwavering dedication, your courage to make bold decisions, and your belief in the limitless potential of our students. Your contributions truly make a difference. Together, we celebrate the impact you've made and continue to make in shaping a brighter future for Baltimore. Thank you for leading the way.
So thank you, Baltimore City Board of School Commissioners. I would also like to give a huge shout out to Roger Schulman, President and CEO of the Fund for Educational Excellence, Paul Wallman, co-founder of the Heart of the Schools, and Kevin Leary and the entire team just for the Heart of the Schools program and the fact that they yet again provided the perfect venue and celebration for our staff, both centrally, our school leaders, as we went into our winter break. And it really does mean a lot because every single year, the fund puts on a celebration where it is so evident their belief in the power of Team City Schools. And they each and every year, as you will see here in some of the pictures, they make sure not only that we celebrate, but also recognize outstanding school leaders across the district. Folks who know me know I love a good raffle. And let me tell you, the Heart of the Schools has one of the best raffles going, both for central leaders, district leaders, and they really do go a long way to make sure that we feel, and again, line dancing in abundance, that we all feel just part of a larger team. And in order to be part of a larger team, you also have to celebrate together. So you can see some of the pictures here. Finally, every year, the Heart of the Schools honors 10 exceptional principals selected from community nominations through the Heart of the School Awards. The nomination process is open now, and I want to encourage everyone to vote for their favorite principal at www.heartoftheschool.org/nominations. So everyone, make sure you vote, and thanks again to our friends at the fund. Finally, I am pleased to announce that we have reached a new 3-year agreement with the Paraprofessionals and School-Related Personnel, PSRP, chapter of the BTU, increasing base salaries and adjusting pay scales to add higher maximum levels. Our PSRP employees support teaching, learning, and district operations in a real variety of roles, from classroom assistants to specialized roles in nearly every district office department. They are critical to the success of our students and schools, and this agreement reflects our recognition of everything they do every day. The Board of Commissioners will vote on the agreement at tonight's meeting. And back to you, Chair Sally, because this concludes my remarks for this evening.
Awesome. Thank you so much. We'd like to take an opportunity to go through our committee reports this evening. Our student commissioner is not with us this evening, but I'll turn it over to Commissioner Esposito for our policy committee meeting. Yep, the 17th of December, the 21st.
The policy committee met on December 17th to discuss JICJ students' use of portable electronic communication devices. So we had a framing conversation about the policies and related to student use of devices. We had compliance reports for policies on residency, non-residency, and tuition. We had updates for the sexual offender registration, KIB-RA, to comply with the state law, HB 814 juvenile law reform. And the meeting also introduced a framing discussion around academic eligibility for both interscholastic and interscholastic extracurricular activities. The recap for the January 2025 meeting, we discussed KIB-RA, the sexual offender registry. Oh wait, no, this is not right. Sorry. So our next meeting is going to be in February. My bad. Sorry, I have some typos. February 18th from 4 to 5. And if anyone wants to sign up for public comment, they can do so from 9 a.m. on Thursday until 5 p.m. on the Monday before the meeting. And I also want to emphasize that folks can provide feedback for any policy through our policy feedback form that's located on the website.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Esposito. Commissioner Slater-Harrington for Teacher and Learning.
Good evening, everyone. Our Teaching and Learning Committee, I think, met in the beginning of this very long month. It seems like last month already. But our meeting focused on, we had a compliance presentation from Gifted Learning, and then we had a pretty robust discussion around summer learning and the impacts, the considerable impacts from a decrease in funding. The district was able to make great strides across each of the board's goal areas, and particularly around graduation, through much credit given to what we were able to do over the summer. And so we heard a presentation around what the staff is considering as we go into this planning for this summer, how we will address priorities, particularly around early learning, and how we maintain progress. And we're looking forward to seeing how the staff is also going to leverage our community partners and helping close the gap or stand in the gap for those areas where we may see deficits due to the decline in funding. So thank you.
Awesome, thank you. We'll catch up in 2 weeks on operations and safety and wholeness as well. I'd like to turn over to staff for a presentation on policy ADH, community school strategy.
Good evening, Commissioners. Dr. Santos-Lisis. I am Tina Highcover, Chief of Communications, Engagement, and Enrollment. We are here today to present a quick policy update, Policy ADH Community Schools. If you may remember, just recently we actually updated and did a very robust engagement process around our community schools policy, and then the legislature changed some very interesting smaller things in the legislation that changed how our policy needed to reflect that actual legislation. So our team has done some great work. We've met with policy and other committees, and they're here to present the final recommended changes to policy ADH today. And with me, I have Chris Battaglia, Director of Community Engagement, for a couple more days. Yes, as I should have led with that, but as we cheered on Monique for her new role, she is replacing the lovely and fantastic, amazing Chris Battaglia, who we're going to miss.
I wasn't fired, that was retirement.
He's retiring. Oh my God. All right, George.
We just want to be on the record.
All right, George. All right, George. And the fantastic Holly Gonzalez and Sheila Drummond, who are both managers of the community schools strategy, they are going to share the updates today, and Chris and I are here to support and answer any questions.
All right. Thank you, Chief. I covered. So we wanted to begin just by going over a little bit of the purpose of policy ADH, which is to establish the framework and responsibilities so we have a successful community school strategy here in Baltimore City. And as a reminder from this policy, the purpose of community schools is to ensure that all of our students are learning and succeeding with a focus on the key areas mentioned on this slide. Just as a reminder, Baltimore City Public Schools has 154 community schools this year. And our model includes both the district hiring community school coordinators in partnership with the principal, as well as having community-based organizations hire that community school coordinator position and support them, again, in partnership with principals. We actually have 98 of our community school coordinators hired by community-based organizations. And here, kind of right at the beginning, I wanted to say that policy ADH does apply to both, to all community schools, regardless of whether it is a district hired community school coordinator or a community-based organization hired community school coordinator. Oh, and also, as we talk through this policy or the proposed policy revisions, we have several pictures from our community schools in action that we hope you guys enjoy as we talk through the specifics. So The rationale for policy updates, as Chief Hike Hubbard mentioned, the policy was updated in 2023 with robust feedback and very broad feedback from the community. So I would like to say thank you to Sheila Drummond Cam, our manager of community schools, and to Seema Shaw Nelson, who at the time was a community school specialist and now a special assistant to the CEO, for leading that work. You guys did like 20 plus presentation, talked to more than hundreds of people. So it was very, very comprehensive. And because that was just done, the modifications we are proposing are somewhat minor or more limited in comparison. They're really being driven by 2 House bills that happened last legislative session, which updated some of the definitions for community schools and wraparound services. So we're going to walk through those differences now. And so first, just here real quick again, kind of our goals in updating the policy really is to revise it so that it mirrors state language and the blueprint for Maryland's future. And we're just going to go right through them. So here you can see all the proposed updates are in red. And what you can see here with the original definition really is they have added that emphasis on shared accountability and collaborative leadership, as well as capacity building and authentic family and community engagement. So of course, we would like to also include that in our policy. These are changes we very much are in agreement with. Next, there are some slight revisions to the wraparound services language. And so this is really about adding some examples or some additional, information here to just clarify what these wraparound services are in a little more detail. Just so you know, the blueprint includes 13 wraparound services in community schools. One of their roles is to connect students to these services, again, kind of to support student success. So the revisions here really are kind of like, adding hearing to vision and dental services, or giving examples of what a student enrichment experience could look like. All right. So we also have some new language from House Bill 428. And this included identifying what additional services community schools should offer, or could offer rather, to remove out-of-school learning barriers for students. We were pleased to see this language. All of these services are services that our community schools are offering, and they are resources that community school coordinators are connecting our families and students to. So it is good that they are now kind of included in state legislation. We do want to highlight that this also created the rental assistance program for community school families. So this program had $10 million associated with it, and it is being developed by the Maryland Department of Housing and Community Development, and it is administered by HCD, Housing and Community Development. It is not administered by the schools, the coordinators, or MSDE. Once it is finalized, the state will share directions with all LEAs on how to refer families to this program, and we are happy to kind of share that information broadly with our community school coordinators. I do want to note one thing, that though this is a new resource, currently community school coordinators are referring people to things like our CAP, our Community Action Partnership Centers, for rental assistance and other resources that are available in our community. But we are excited to have this additional resource coming. Right. Next, sorry if I go too. Okay. So House Bill 200 also added some specific language around the evaluation of community schools, and we want that reflected in our policy. So this is the proposed language there. We are already working to ensure that all of our reports and materials are tracking information from community schools in such a way that we will be able to meet this deadline and provide this information as required by the state. So we would like policy ADH to reflect that. Also, as the state is going to make a lot of the implementation documents of community schools public, we would like to do so as well. So this will include copies of the needs assessment, action plan, and annual evaluation after they are reviewed and approved by MSDE. Okay, so we are very interested in the board's perspectives on our community school steering committee. So Sheila really kind of took this opportunity for us, since we were revising the policy, to think through in partnership with our steering committee members, how we might want to change up the makeup of this committee, and we really wanted to increase community presence in it. And so that happened in a few different ways. One was increasing the number of community school coordinators from 2 to 3. Another was adding a community member at large. And then Also, in order to, and this also shows it, I think you can see a little bit better, to match kind of the BTU representative, to add a representative from Pizzazza. In order to keep it at an odd number, one of the things that did happen is for community school students, like taking them to 2 to match families and lead agencies was another revision we are proposing. So just as a quick kind of aside, some of the stakeholders who will be impacted by these policy revisions, it really is community school team at city schools, our 13 community school lead agencies, and 154 community school coordinators and the community school steering committee. We are absolutely working to make all of the work or administrative tasks associated with this as minimal as possible for these groups. And so that is definitely a part of our planning. All right, so here's our outreach piece. We have presented and or at least shared kind of the proposed revisions widely and with a lot of our different stakeholders. So here in the fall, it was really focused on community school stakeholder outreach, I would say. So we did share the proposed revisions, both like in a newsletter with an online form. We offered to do virtual meetings with community school coordinators. And what you'll see is there were either kind of no attendees and we didn't receive any feedback from those opportunities. We did present to the Baltimore Climate Collaborative. They had no concerns with proposed revisions. We presented to our steering committee, who also had no concerns with the revisions.
Hey, how's it going?
And
Okay.
for community
Uh-huh.
supervisors, we did a presentation
what
with them
do you do now?
specifically.
Could we check to make sure everyone is muted, please? Thank you.
All right, so for community school supervisors, we did do a presentation to them. 12 of our 13 lead agencies were represented at that meeting. They had no concerns. They had one clarifying question about whether or not things like service learning activities could qualify for enrichment. And we said, yes, the examples are examples. They are not the limit of they're not the limit of enrichment activities. We also presented to the Equity Advisory Committee. I'm actually going to talk about them on the next slide. So these are the official groups that we shared the information with via email. It was also posted on our website for public comment. The Equity Advisory Committee had no concerns, and their questions were more kind of like, how are community school lead agencies chosen? Do the same things apply to community-based and district hired coordinators, which is why we changed the beginning of this presentation a little bit. For charter and operator-led school board, no questions really. We presented to them. They had just some general comments. For PCAB, Parent and Community Advisory Board, we did not receive any feedback, nor from the Associated Student Congress of Baltimore City, though it was shared with them. The Special Education Citizens Advisory Committee, CCAC, noted that transparency is needed at every level as the new policy is rolled out, and they requested we share recommendations on how to incorporate the new policy into their work, and we will absolutely, if approved, share information with them and be in communication about how CCAC can support the new ADH revisions in implementation. For charter school operators, we did receive feedback. So one of the things that they recommended was that for some of our key steering committee groups, teachers, students, families, and school leaders, that a charter representative be a part of those groups. So city schools did add language based on this comment to our administrative regulations, as you can see here, stating that we will make targeted efforts to recruit and encourage individuals who are members of charter operator-led schools to be on our steering committee. They also shared some concerns about the administrative burden for schools, as well as wanting to make sure that coordinators or schools were not responsible for implementing the rental assistance program, which we will clarify. No feedback was received from the labor unions, and we did receive a question from a family member via the forum, which focused on community schools and the concentration of poverty grants, less on the policy piece. So we are working with different departments in order to get a response for that family. Went through that a little fast.
questions, anyone?
I just add very quickly that Dr. Sedlices and I were fortunate enough to present at MSDE recently on the community schools work to date. It was really well received. We left them in tears with our video of the United Way. But I just also want to say I have the most amazing community schools team sitting here next to me, and I'm just so proud of the work that they are doing and the way we are implementing this strategy to fidelity and making sure we're staying updated on our policy work. So thank you.
All right. So I actually want to take a minute before I turn over to my board colleagues to also commend staff. I had an opportunity to join you guys at MSDE for that presentation and just the tremendous work in terms of the state having a lot of buy-in in terms of what we're doing and having that as a model to share throughout the state for others to learn from. So kudos to not only everybody here, but to our entire school community who's implementing that work. So thank you, thank you. Commissioner Slater-Harrington.
I just want to, no questions, but I will take a point of privilege in that I've had the great honor to be able to witness the evolution of this work and the evolution of community schools in Baltimore, and what they are saying but not saying, won't brag on themselves, is Baltimore City's community schools have served as the blueprint across the state and the nation, and really warrants all of the honor and recognition that you all get, to be on the forefront and have the rest of the state coming behind, and having our city's community schools really inform what it's going to look like, and being the pioneer to say, and the, just the image for which everybody else is formed, is just a testament to the wonderful work that you all have done. And you're right, you have the best team and you are a great leader. I want to take another point of privilege, and it's no coincidence that this last presentation is on community schools, and we have had the pleasure of having one of the best principals in community school history lead this work, and Chris Battaglia / George Clooney. And I'm just so glad to have had the benefit, both as a colleague, but also a board member, to witness not just your work at Ben Franklin, but to really forge ahead in leadership here at the district. You're leaving us in very capable hands. I love her. But I would be remiss if I just didn't take this point of privilege to recognize everything that you've done, and the path that you have laid. And thank you for gracing us with your presence before you go to continue your acting career. Thank you, George Clooney.
Thank you. Any additional board colleagues? Sure.
Again, thank you all for your great work. I also want to take the time to thank you, Mr. Battaglia, for your work and your contribution to Baltimore City, but your work and your contribution to me. So many people do not know that Mr. Battaglia was my teacher, and and it is a great full circle moment to be here and just a part of your legacy and what you have put into students for the many years that you have served. So thank you, rest, and enjoy.
Commissioner Ames Messenger.
I say there's nothing that you can add to those two things, but I think we can't say enough about community schools as a strategy. And I think just for what that means for students and for families to be able to belong and be seen in schools, and how it changes the posture of what we do as educators. Like, that's the magic sauce that kind of makes it all come together. So thank you for your work. That is hard. I think also just for the service to teachers that gets missed a lot. I think back to being a first-year educator and the countless dams that you're trying to shove fingers into, and wishing desperately at the time that I had had a community school build, a coordinator in my building, to be able to build those relationships, to set that stage, to change the culture, so that you as a teacher then can come in on the academic part and partner with families based on the work that's already been done, not just by that person, but by a whole department that is building a strategy to be thoughtful impactful in the most strategic ways. And so I hope that our state learns from your lessons hard learned, that we are compensated for that knowledge and expertise, and just well done for you all as a team. Thank you.
Any additional?
I just want to say a very public goodbye to Chris Battaglia. And to have a school leader bring the knowledge of families from the ground up to the work across the district. I remember when Chief High Cupboard said she had found the right person, and you were the right person, and you've carried the work in ways that don't, frankly, always translate at scale. Just because you can do it at one building does not mean you can do it across the district. And you came at just the right time, and you found your sweet spot. And my only requirement and kind of last directive to you is I better still get pictures of that beautiful grandbaby when you're good. Thanks for all your work and service, Chris.
I'm gonna bring her to visit because
I love that.
Poppy will be watching her, so she's gonna bring her down for lunch.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
I'm going to put my final bow on it and thank Chris Battaglia for my very first year on the board, an opportunity to do graduation for Ben Franklin. And the reason why I really wanted to do that school, like I hopped at that opportunity to like see in action all the good things I've read. And so under your leadership and seeing you bring that level of enthusiasm and passion to this work here inside Central District has been amazing. So congratulations on a career well done. So everybody join me in a round of applause for Chris Battaglia. And I'm excited to see this work continue to unfold with community schools going forward. So I think we're all set for the evening, but we've got lots more work to do as a district. So thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. So, and while they're transitioning away, we're going to set up our next presentation, which is an important one, 9.02, which is our FY24 closeout. This looks ahead at our fiscal responsibilities as a board, which is really important for our community to know where we stand and where we're moving forward as we put a bow on FY24. So Chief Doherty.
Good evening, everyone. Do that all the time. Good evening, everyone. My name is Mary Ann Cox. I'm the Deputy Chief Financial Officer. This young man here is Chris Doherty, this CFO. And we're here to present the financial summary to the board. So Finance presents on behalf of the entire finance office. We all have a part in this. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about our financial reporting cycle. Generally, the end of January is the end of our reporting cycle. As you all know, we have a fiscal year for our operations, which ends 6/30 each year. Per COMAR, we are required to submit our audited financial statements to MSDE no later than 9/30 each year. What we typically do then is have our external auditors, at this time Clifton Larson Allen, they come in and they submit a report to the board on the results of the audit, and they talk a little bit about the single audit too. They typically come in October or November. But then we also have the single audit, which is the audit of federal funds, which must be submitted no later than 12/31 each year. So that audit report is also completed and submitted to MSDE. I wanted to remind you that when we submit our reports to MSDE, typically finance submits them to the CEO, and then the CEO submits them to the board. So there are also other governance documents that come along that are just for board review. So
Okay.
I'm sorry, was there a question?
Just ask any folks who are online to make sure that your phone lines are muted this evening. Thank you.
I'm sorry. Oh, okay. Also, with our single audit due 12/31, we also do reporting on the federal funds to a central clearinghouse, as we're required to do, and that we also do some other reporting at the end of January, which is on like maintenance of effort and excess costs. So as part of this closeout for our financial reporting, we wanted to come back and touch bases with the board to give a little more detail on the financial information that you've already received. So typically the board receives the audited basic financial statements anywhere from the beginning of October to the middle of October. So in terms of financial reporting, we must follow COMAR, and COMAR says we report according to category. So all of our financial information in our financial statements relates to category, not object. We are required to comply and report with the items in the MSDE financial manual. So that's what we do. So I'm going to just give you a little bit of detail that is not demonstrated separately in our audit. So if we could go to the revenue first. Yes, thank you, Jonathan. What I wanted to point out to you, you can see here that there's two columns. We have the final budget, and that's after all the board approved budget amendments, and then our actual and some variances. What I wanted to talk to you a little bit about where the variances come from. We have variances in our state revenue because when we set our budget, we use the best information we have at the time, which is the January state aid calculation. That's the best we have when we start our budget process, and we don't update it as we go through. But the state also continues to do updates, and the final revenue is not released until June. So you can see that we have some variances on that. So we also do true ups for which will come into play in the variances, and the true ups can be plus or minus from the prior year. We accrue any revenue to which we're entitled, but we have not yet received. We accrue that based on the best information we have at the time. So you can see that we have some variances there as well. Our funding formulas, which is what the budget is based on, and the appropriations we get from the state, is based more on funding formulas based on funded enrollment and relative wealth of the city of Baltimore compared to the rest of the state. So other than that, we get the same funding everybody else does. You know, the same rules apply to us as do every other LEA in the state. I want to talk about the city of Baltimore. Again, we have the same type of variances where the base budget that we get is based on the required local contribution that would come from the first state aid calc. And of course, those numbers changed through the end. So we have some variance from there too. Wanted to talk about federal revenue. Federal revenue comes from a lot of different sources. We get various ROTC reimbursements, we get E-rate, we get FEMA, IRS subsidy. And last year, we started getting the Emergency Connectivity Fund, which is based on a general fund grant that city schools was awarded based on technology needs. So our OIT department processed the request, and we had received some money last year for the Emergency Connectivity Fund. Of course, investment earnings, we see it's very unpredictable. The number varies from one year to the next. I mean, it wasn't but 3 years ago, maybe 4, where we had 27,000 in investment income, and you can see where it is now. So it's dependent largely on the T-bill rate. T-bill rate hit an all-time high during FY 2024. And it's still relatively high, but it has come down. There have been a few cuts, so we don't expect that to repeat at that level. Other revenue is another thing that is not really detailed in our audited financial statements. This is where we put everything else. So other revenue will include intestate revenue, and that's where if a Baltimore City resident dies without a will, any money in their estate flows to city schools. It's that way all over the state. You know, it's based on the geographic boundary. So that we report in other income. We report non-resident tuition. We have miscellaneous rent, which is, that one is basically the permits and such, and that was over $1 million. We have reimbursement agreements, which was over $3 million. We have home and hospital reimbursements, restitution of over $1 million. And we also have MSA reimbursements to the general fund in $4.5 million. So really the other revenue is everything that's not included anywhere else. And of course, being a governmental agency, we have to respond to the GASB requirements, and the fiduciary activities there that's noted is actually the income for our school activity funds and the cable fund, as we're required to break it out. And the same thing for the leases. We now detail leases, revenue and expense, and record them according to the requirements in that GASB statement. Okay, so you can see when all is said and done, we had we had a budget of 1.4 billion, and we had an actual revenue of 1.48 billion. So that excess will flow to fund balance. Okay. Next slide. Are we on the categories? I'm just going to speak a little bit on this one. Remember, we are required to report by category, so that's what happens here. And I could tell you, if you liked, you know, all the little things that go in each one, but some of it is just common sense. Again, it's our reporting is laid out in the MSDE Finance Manual, so we must comply with that. There were two items here I wanted to point out to you is capital outlay. You can see the budget is 22.5 million. That is where we record the contributions to MSA for the 21st Century Fund. So of that 22.5 million, 20 million of it relates to the contribution that city schools makes for the 21st century. 10 million of that is on behalf of city schools, and 10 million of that is on behalf of the city of Baltimore. I also wanted to point out that we have debt service. We record our own debt service. City Schools is the only LEA in the state who has the right to issue revenue bonds of their own. So that right was given to city schools back with the city-state partnership law in 1997. Okay, the next page is by object. This is the one that most of our conversations talk about our expenditures by object. You know, they're very self-revealing here. I do want to say that as a rule of thumb, city schools says we spend about 3/4 of our expenditures in personnel related. So that will be on the first two lines of salary and wages and fringe benefits. So we had budgeted 997 million, which was 70.3% of the total budgeted expenditures. And our actual was 983 million. So a total of 70.7% of the total expenditures. So we're very close in the ballpark, and you can see that when all is said and done, city schools spent most of the money that we have or pledged it for encumbrances which carry over to the next year. One other thing that I wanted to point out here on the indirect cost recovery, you can see a credit of $9.8 million. That won't happen again. The $9.8 million is the indirect cost that we are allowed to recover by federal law on federal grants. Mostly we get a little bit on state to recover our administrative costs. Remember, we had the ESSER grants, all the COVID grants flow through our books. So that's why this number is so high, and it will not repeat at that level. Okay, the next one is a summary page. We just wanted to talk a little bit about how items get into assigned fund balance. As part of board policy DIG fund balance, the CEO is the board's designee and she has the authority to place items in general fund assigned funds balance. That's where all these items went. However, when we want to expend the money, we come to the board for approval. So the CEO places it in there and it's reported in our financials, and but we come to the board to spend it. The only other item I wanted to say here, you can see what happens to the difference between revenue and expenditures. It goes largely to our assigned fund balance. And what do we do with our assigned fund balance? For these type of projects, the bulk of all of it goes to capital projects to pay for the maintenance and operating needs that we have in capital projects. Just as a point, of this 92,996 that would have been the slice of FY 2024 amount added to fund balance, we have the board approving actually a total of 7 supplementals tonight, 5 of which are on this list, and those 5 were over $71 million. So that's where the money goes. It comes in, we commingle our fund, we've got investment income in there. I mean, there's a lot of things that go into that. But when all is said and done, the CEO discusses with cabinet and tries to determine what projects should be funded if we can. And so we follow the CEO's lead on that. So, are there any questions?
Thank you so much for the comprehensive update. It's really important for our fiscal and fiduciary oversight responsibilities as a board. Turn it over to my board colleagues for any questions that they may have on tonight's presentation.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Eddie, before you leave, right quick, just to make sure. I think that's it. We appreciate this work. I think it's very important for us to keep this in mind and sight as we enter the budget cycle this year. We'll come back with more robust questions that we take from here into there forward. So thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So our notice of upcoming meetings, are leading off with teaching and learning on February 4th will be virtual. We'll be back here on February 11th for our public board meeting. Safety and wholeness. Specifically want to lift up safety and wholeness. We are having a listening tour. Commissioner Mohammed is not here to join us this evening to talk about it in more detail, but he'll be back on the 11th to talk about what to expect on the 12th. We do invite our entire public to join us at Collington Square Rec Center. This will be held at, Dr. Judkins, do you know the time for this? 5:30 to 7 p.m. at Collington Square. There's more information available on the board. On the board's website. Our operations committee meeting will be on February 18th. Policy committee at the same time. The same afternoon. And safety and wholeness virtual session will be February 20th. Before we adjourn this evening, I do want to take an opportunity to thank our entire board for their service. Once again, very appreciative of the work and the dedication and tireless hours that our entire board puts into ensuring that each and every one of our scholars here in Baltimore City have an excellent education. Is there a motion to adjourn? Thank you, Commissioner Slater Harrington. Is there a second?
Second, Esposito.
All in favor by saying aye?
Aye.
Thank you. We are adjourned for the evening.